She did not know anyone was watching that day. But one small sacrifice would change the life of a man who thought he already had everything. The grocery store was busy that Saturday afternoon. Families moved through the aisles, children laughed near the bakery section, and the soft sound of shopping carts filled the air. For most people, it was just another ordinary day. But for the single mom, it was a moment she would remember forever. She stood quietly in front of the birthday cake display. Her daughter's birthday was only a few days away. The cake was simple, nothing extravagant. A small cake with colorful decorations, the kind that could make a child smile for an entire day. The single mom looked at it carefully. Then she checked the price tag. For a moment, she simply stood there. Not because she did not want it, because she wanted it more than anything. She imagined her daughter's face lighting up. She imagined the happiness of that little celebration at home. But then she remembered the other things they needed. The groceries, the school supplies, the bills waiting on the kitchen counter. She slowly reached out, not to take the cake, to put it back. The decision was quiet, almost invisible. Most people would never notice, but someone did. A few feet away, the billionaire CEO stood near the aisle, holding his phone in one hand. He had been reading messages about business deals, company decisions, and meetings that filled his calendar. His world was built around numbers, growth, success, results. He was a man who could buy almost anything without looking at the price. Yet somehow, he could not look away from the woman returning a small birthday cake to the shelf. There was something about the way she did it. No anger, no complaint, no frustration, only love. The billionaire CEO watched as the single mom smiled softly when her daughter ran back toward her. The little girl did not know what had happened. She only saw her mother. She only saw safety. She only saw love. And somehow, that simple moment felt more valuable than anything inside his expensive office. The CEO had spent years surrounded by people who noticed what he owned, how much power he had, what he could provide. But this woman was different. She was not trying to impress anyone. She was not asking anyone for help. She was simply choosing her daughter over herself. And that stayed with him. The single mom walked away from the bakery section, holding her daughter's hand. The CEO remained there for a few seconds longer. The world around him continued moving. The carts rolled by. The conversations continued. But something inside him had become strangely quiet. For the first time in years, a small moment had interrupted the life he carefully built. He did not know her name. He did not know her story. He did not know that this ordinary afternoon would become a turning point. He only knew one thing. A woman who had so little had just shown him something he had forgotten. Sometimes the greatest acts of love are the ones nobody expects to see. The single mom never thought a moment inside a grocery store would stay in someone's memory. To her, it was just another choice she had to make. A choice between something she wanted for her daughter and the responsibilities waiting at home. That was the reality of her everyday life. She woke up before the sun came through the windows. She prepared breakfast. She packed her daughter's school bag. She checked every small detail because to her those small details were everything. Her daughter was the reason she kept going. The reason she smiled on difficult mornings. The reason she believed that even simple moments could become beautiful memories. Their home was not large. Their life was not filled with expensive things, but it was filled with love. And the single mom understood something many people forgot. A child did not remember the price of a gift. A child remembered how loved they felt. That afternoon, after leaving the grocery store, she walked home with her daughter beside her. The little girl held her mother's hand and talked about her upcoming birthday. She did not ask for anything expensive. She did not dream about a huge celebration. She simply wanted to spend the day with the person she loved most. Her mother smiled as she listened, because she knew that was the one thing she could always give. Her time, her attention, her love. Across town, the billionaire CEO returned to a completely different world. His office occupied the top floors of a modern skyscraper. Glass walls surrounded him. The city stretched endlessly below. Everything about his environment represented achievement. People waited for his decisions. Companies depended on his leadership. His calendar was planned weeks in advance. Yet that evening, he found himself thinking about something that had nothing to do with business. A birthday cake. A mother's quiet expression. A decision made without anyone asking her to sacrifice. He looked out at the city lights. For years he believed success meant reaching higher, building more, owning more. But the image of that woman standing in the bakery aisle remained in his mind. Why did that moment affect him so deeply? He had seen thousands of people make difficult choices. He had witnessed negotiations where millions of dollars were involved. But none of those moments stayed with him like this one. Because those decisions were about money. Hers was about love. The next morning, the CEO arrived at his office as usual. His assistant reviewed the schedule. Meetings, presentations, business discussions. Everything continued exactly as planned. But he was different. A small part of him was still standing in that grocery store aisle, still watching a mother choose her daughter's happiness over her own comfort. Later that day, he found himself searching for answers. Not because he wanted to interfere. Not because he wanted recognition. Because he wanted to understand. Who was that woman? What kind of life created that kind of strength? And why did someone with so little remind him of something he had forgotten? The CEO had spent his entire life learning how to gain more. More success. More influence. More control. But that simple moment had shown him another possibility. Maybe the richest people were not always the ones with the most. Maybe they were the ones who knew what mattered most. And for the first time in years, the billionaire CEO wondered if his greatest lesson would come from someone the world never noticed. Sometimes the person who changes your life is the one who never asked for anything from you. The single mom never considered herself extraordinary. She did not see herself as someone who could inspire another person. She was simply a mother trying to create a good life for her daughter, one ordinary day at a time. Every morning she followed the same routine. The alarm rang before sunrise. The kitchen light turned on. A small breakfast was prepared with careful attention. A lunch bag was packed. A gentle reminder about homework was given. Nothing about it seemed remarkable. But to her daughter, those moments were everything. The little girl knew her mother was always there. She knew that even when things were difficult, she was surrounded by love. And that was the one thing the single mom never wanted her daughter to question. That she mattered. That she was cherished. That she was deeply loved. Meanwhile, the billionaire CEO continued trying to understand why that brief encounter had affected him so much. He returned to the same world he had always known. A world of business meetings, private offices, and important decisions. People around him measured success through achievements. They talked about investments. They talked about expansion. They talked about numbers. But nobody talked about the small moments that made life meaningful. The CEO had spent years building a reputation as one of the most successful people in the country. He had reached goals that many people only dreamed about. Yet something felt incomplete. It was not a problem that appeared on a financial report. It was not something his advisors could solve. It was a quiet feeling he carried alone. For the first time in a long time, he began questioning what success really meant. That afternoon in the grocery store had revealed something unexpected. The single mom had given something up without hesitation. Not because she had too little love. Because she had too much. Her daughter's happiness mattered more to her than her own wishes. And that idea stayed with him. The CEO started noticing things he had ignored before. A father helping his child choose a snack. A mother laughing with her kids in a parking lot. An older couple sharing a simple conversation over coffee. Small moments. Ordinary moments. The kind of moments that had always existed around him, but somehow remained invisible. He realized he had spent so much time chasing the future that he forgot to appreciate the present. But the single mom had never forgotten. Her life was not built around luxury. It was built around connection. One evening, the CEO sat alone in his office after everyone else had gone home. The city lights reflected against the glass windows. His phone rested quietly on the desk. For once, he did not reach for it. He simply thought. He thought about a mother standing in a store aisle. He thought about a child who only wanted a happy birthday. He thought about how a person with fewer resources could still possess something incredibly valuable. Peace, kindness, purpose. The CEO did not know where this realization would lead. He did not know that the woman he noticed for only a few minutes would soon become connected to his life in a way he never expected. But something had already changed. A door that had been closed for years had finally opened. And behind it was a lesson he never knew he needed. Sometimes the greatest discoveries do not happen in boardrooms. They happen in quiet moments, when someone's kindness reminds us who we were meant to become. He had spent years learning how to build an empire, but he never learned how to recognize the moments that truly mattered. The days after the grocery store encounter passed quietly. At least they appeared quiet from the outside. The single mom continued living the same way she always had. She woke up early. She prepared breakfast. She helped her daughter get ready for school. She worked hard, came home tired, and still found the energy to listen when her daughter shared stories about her day. To the world it looked ordinary. But inside that small home, there was something powerful. A mother's determination. A child's trust. A love that did not depend on how much they owned. The single mom never told her daughter about the cake she had returned. She never wanted her child to feel like something was missing. Instead, she focused on creating happiness from what they already had. She decorated the kitchen table with simple handmade decorations. She saved little by little for a special birthday breakfast. She planned small surprises that did not require a large budget, because she knew something important. A beautiful memory was not created by a price tag. It was created by love. Meanwhile, the billionaire CEO found himself changing in ways even he did not expect. He still attended meetings. He still made important decisions. He still carried the responsibilities of a powerful company, but something inside him had shifted. Before he noticed numbers, now he noticed people. Before he measured success by achievements, now he wondered about meaning. His assistant noticed the difference. The CEO, who was usually focused only on deadlines and business goals, had started asking questions about community projects and employee families. Not because it was good for his public image, because he genuinely wanted to understand. One afternoon, while reviewing company reports, he saw a small charity partnership proposal on his desk. Normally, he would have moved past it quickly, but this time he stopped. He remembered the single mom standing in that grocery store. He remembered the way she looked at the birthday cake before putting it back. There was no bitterness in her expression, only love, and somehow that stayed with him. The CEO began searching for ways to help people without making them feel like they needed to be rescued. He understood something new. Real kindness was not about showing someone how much you had. It was about reminding them that they mattered. A few days later, he returned to the same neighborhood where he had seen her. Not with a team, not with attention, just as a person trying to understand a world different from his own. He walked past small local shops. He saw families sharing simple moments. He saw neighbors helping each other. And he realized something. The life he had built was impressive, but the life he had been missing was human connection. Across the street, the single mom was walking with her daughter. The little girl was laughing about something her mother had said. The CEO noticed the smile on the mother's face. It was the same smile he had seen before. A smile that came from giving, not receiving. For a moment he simply watched. Not because she was unusual, because she represented something he had forgotten. The value of a heart that gives without expecting anything in return. He still did not know her story. He still did not know the challenges she carried. But he knew one thing. The woman who quietly returned a birthday cake had started a change inside a man who once believed he needed nothing. And that change was only beginning. The kindest people are often the ones who never believe they deserve kindness in return. The single mom continued moving through life with quiet determination. She did not know that someone had noticed her sacrifice. She did not know that a moment she considered ordinary had changed the way a powerful man viewed the world. To her, life was still about the little things. Making breakfast before school. Finding time to help with homework after a long day. Saving small amounts whenever possible. Creating a home where her daughter always felt safe and loved. Her daughter's birthday was getting closer. The single mom looked around their small kitchen and smiled. There was not much space. The decorations were simple. The celebration would not look like the parties she sometimes saw online. But she knew something those pictures could never show. A child did not measure love by the size of a room. A child measured love by the person who stayed. and she planned to make that day special. Meanwhile, the billionaire CEO was beginning to understand a lesson he had ignored for years. He had always believed that helping people meant providing solutions, writing checks, making investments, creating opportunities from a distance. Those things had value, but he was starting to realize something deeper. Sometimes people did not need someone to change their entire life. Sometimes they simply needed someone to see them. The thought stayed with him. The woman in the grocery store had never asked anyone for anything. She had not looked around hoping someone would notice her struggle. She had quietly made a choice based on love, and that made her different from anyone he had met before. One morning, the CEO reviewed a community support project that had been waiting for approval. Usually, he would have focused only on the financial details, the numbers, the results, the expectations, but this time he looked deeper. He wanted to know who the project would help, whose lives could become easier, whose families could feel supported. His team noticed the change. The man who once moved quickly through every decision had started taking time to listen. Not because he wanted praise, not because he wanted recognition, because he finally understood that every number represented a person, every decision affected a life, and every life carried a story. A few days later, the CEO found himself near the same neighborhood again. He did not have a specific reason, at least that was what he told himself. But somewhere inside, he hoped to see the woman who had reminded him of something important. The streets were calm. People walked by carrying groceries. Parents picked up their children from school. Neighbors greeted each other with familiar smiles. It was a world far away from the private meetings and luxury offices he knew so well. Then he saw her. The single mom was standing outside a small local store with her daughter. The little girl was holding her mother's hand and talking excitedly. Her mother listened carefully, smiling as if nothing else in the world mattered. The CEO watched from a distance. Not as a businessman, not as someone with power, just as a person witnessing a moment of genuine happiness. He noticed something he had never seen in his own world: peace. The single mom did not have everything, but she had something rare, a heart that remained generous, even when life asked her to give more than she had. And for the first time, the CEO wondered if the person who needed help was not her. Maybe it was him. Because the woman who returned a birthday cake had unknowingly given him a gift far greater than anything money could buy. A reason to look beyond himself. A reason to care. A reason to become someone better. The greatest changes in life do not always begin with a grand decision. Sometimes they begin with a quiet moment of compassion. The single mom never knew how much her simple choice had affected someone else. She continued living the same way she always had. She woke up early. She prepared meals. She worked hard. She came home and listened to every little story her daughter wanted to share. Her days were not easy, but she had learned something important. A difficult life did not mean an unhappy life, because happiness was not always found in having more. Sometimes it was found in appreciating what was already there. That evening, her daughter sat at the kitchen table, carefully drawing decorations for her upcoming birthday. The drawings were colorful and full of imagination. The single mom watched quietly. She saw the excitement in her daughter's eyes, and for a moment she forgot about the things they could not afford. She only saw the love between them. The little girl looked up and smiled. "Mom, I think this will be the best birthday ever." The single mom smiled back. She knew her daughter believed that, and that was enough. Across the city, the billionaire CEO was sitting in his office, surrounded by everything people thought represented success. A beautiful view, a comfortable workspace, a company built through years of dedication. Yet that night, none of it felt as meaningful as a simple conversation between a mother and daughter. He looked through reports on his desk, but his thoughts kept returning to something much smaller. A birthday cake, a mother's gentle expression, a choice made without anyone knowing. He began to understand why that moment stayed with him. It was not because the cake mattered. It was because of what the cake represented. Love without recognition, sacrifice without complaint, kindness without expectation. The CEO had spent most of his life surrounded by people who wanted something from him. Business partners wanted opportunities. Employees wanted decisions. People wanted access to his success. But the single mom had wanted nothing. She did not know who he was. She did not know his influence. She did not know the size of his company or the power behind his name. She simply lived according to her values, and that was something money could never purchase. The next week, the CEO approved a new community initiative through his company. It was not designed for publicity. It was not created to make headlines. He wanted it to provide real support for families who were working hard every day. Families who carried responsibilities quietly. Families who often went unnoticed. His team was surprised by the change. The CEO who once focused only on growth and performance was now asking different questions. How would this help people? Would families feel respected? Would this create a meaningful difference? For him, those questions were new, but they felt right. He realized that helping others was not about standing above them. It was about standing beside them. A few days later, he passed through the same neighborhood again. This time, he saw the single mom and her daughter outside a small community center. The little girl was smiling. Her mother was listening. The scene was simple, ordinary, beautiful. The CEO stopped for a moment. He did not approach. He did not interrupt. He simply watched, because he finally understood something that had escaped him for years. The woman he had noticed in a grocery store was not someone waiting for a better life. She was already creating one. And somehow, through her quiet kindness, she had shown him how to create one too. The man who once believed he had everything was beginning to discover the one thing he had been missing: a heart connected to others. The world saw a successful businessman, but one quiet woman saw the person he could become. The billionaire CEO had spent years building a life that many people admired. A life filled with achievements. A life surrounded by influence. A life where every decision carried weight. But recently something had changed. The way he looked at people. The way he listened. The way he understood the world around him. The change did not come from a business strategy. It did not come from a meeting. It came from a simple moment he could not forget. A mother standing in a grocery store aisle, choosing love over something she wanted. The single mom never knew she had become a turning point in someone else's life. She was still focused on her own. Her daughter's birthday was approaching, and she was determined to make it special. She created decorations at home using simple materials. She prepared a small celebration with the things they already had. Every detail carried meaning. A handwritten card, a favorite meal, a table decorated with care. Things that did not cost much but meant everything. Her daughter looked at the small preparations and smiled. To her it was perfect, because her mother had created it. The single mom looked at her daughter and felt grateful. She did not have everything she wanted, but she had everything she truly needed. Meanwhile, the CEO continued searching for a way to understand the feeling that had followed him since that afternoon. He started visiting places outside his usual world. Not as a billionaire. Not as someone looking for recognition. Just as a person trying to learn. He noticed the people he had once overlooked. The workers arriving early. The parents making sacrifices quietly. The families finding happiness in simple moments. For years, he had believed people needed opportunities to become successful. Now he realized something deeper. People also needed to feel valued. They needed to know someone saw their efforts. Someone appreciated their struggles. Someone understood their stories. One afternoon, his assistant asked about the new community project. "Why does this matter so much now?" the assistant wondered. The CEO paused, because the answer was difficult to explain. How could he describe a feeling that started with a birthday cake? How could he explain that one person's kindness had changed his entire perspective? He simply said, "Because every family deserves to feel supported." It was a simple sentence, but it represented a completely different man. The CEO who once measured success only through results was now measuring it through impact. Not the kind that appeared in headlines, the kind that quietly changed lives. Later that week, the single mom visited a local community event with her daughter. She did not know the event was connected to the company owned by the man who had watched her in that grocery store. She only knew that people were helping families like hers. She appreciated the kindness, but she never imagined she had inspired it. The CEO saw her from a distance. For a moment, he considered walking over. He wanted to tell her. He wanted to explain that her choice had reminded him what truly mattered. But he stopped because he understood something important. The best acts of kindness were not performed for recognition. They were given freely, just like hers. So he simply watched as the single mom smiled with her daughter. A small smile, a peaceful smile, the same smile that had started everything. And in that moment, the billionaire CEO finally understood. A person did not need wealth to create change. Sometimes all it took was a kind heart, a difficult choice, and the courage to put someone else first. The most powerful transformations are not the ones that change what we have. They are the ones that change who we become. The single mom continued to believe that her life was simple. She did not know about the conversations happening because of her. She did not know that a decision she made in a grocery store had influenced a man who led a company known across the country. To her, she was still just a mother trying her best, a mother hoping her daughter would grow up knowing one important thing, that she was loved. The birthday celebration finally arrived. It was not held in a large venue. There were no expensive decorations. There was no crowd of guests. But there was laughter. There were smiles. There was a small kitchen filled with warmth. The single mom placed the homemade decorations carefully around the room. Her daughter looked around with excitement. She saw every little detail, the drawings on the wall, the favorite foods on the table, the birthday card her mother had written by hand. And she smiled, because to her, this was not a small celebration. It was a memory she would carry forever. The single mom watched her daughter's happiness and felt something she had not felt in a long time. Peace. She realized that sometimes the moments people worry will not be enough become the moments that matter the most. Across the city, the billionaire CEO was experiencing a different kind of change. His company was growing. His projects were expanding. His professional life was stronger than ever. But the biggest change was happening inside him. He no longer looked at success the same way. Before, he wanted to build something impressive. Now, he wanted to build something meaningful. Before, he wanted people to recognize his achievements. Now, he wanted his actions to make a difference. The single mom had never given him advice. She had never told him how to live. She had simply shown him. Through one quiet decision, through one moment of sacrifice, through one act of love, the CEO finally understood why that moment stayed with him. Because kindness had a way of reaching places that money could never reach. One evening, he visited the community center connected to his new family support program. He walked through the building quietly. He saw parents receiving assistance. He saw children smiling. He saw people who were working hard every day and still finding reasons to hope. For the first time, he did not feel like a person providing help. He felt like a person standing among others. That difference mattered. Later, he noticed the single mom entering the center with her daughter. She looked the same as the first day he saw her. Calm, kind, focused on her child. She did not notice him immediately. And for a moment he simply watched. Not because she was a mystery. Not because he saw her as someone who needed saving. Because he respected her. The CEO had spent years surrounded by people who admired his success. But this woman had shown him something more valuable. She showed him that character was not measured by what someone owned. It was measured by what someone gave when nobody was watching. Eventually, their eyes met. The single mom recognized him. She remembered the man from the store. The man who had been standing nearby that day. There was a brief moment of surprise. A moment where neither of them knew exactly what to say. Then the CEO offered a gentle smile. Not the confident smile of a businessman. A sincere smile from someone who had learned something important. The single mom smiled back. She still did not know how much her kindness had changed his life, but she was about to discover that sometimes, the smallest choices create the biggest connections. And sometimes, a simple act of love becomes the beginning of a story nobody expected. The greatest gifts in life are not always the ones we receive. Sometimes, they are the ones that quietly change who we are. The single mom never expected anything to come from that afternoon in the grocery store. She never expected someone important to notice her. She never expected a simple choice to become a meaningful memory for another person. To her, she was only doing what every loving parent tries to do: protect her child, create happiness, make the best of what life gives her. But the billionaire CEO saw something different. He saw a A reminder that kindness did not require wealth, that generosity did not require recognition, that the most valuable things in life were often the ones that could never be purchased. Over time, their paths crossed more often, not because of coincidence alone, but because one small moment had created a connection between two completely different worlds. The single mom remained the same person. She was still humble, still thoughtful, still focused on her daughter. She never treated the CEO differently because of his success. She spoke to him the same way she would speak to anyone else, with honesty, with warmth, with respect. And that was something he deeply appreciated. For the first time in years, he felt seen for who he was. Not his company, not his reputation, not his achievements, just him. One day, the CEO finally told her about the moment he first noticed her. He explained that he had watched her return the cake. He explained that he saw the love behind that decision. The single mom was surprised. She never thought anyone was paying attention. She had not done it to inspire someone. She had not done it hoping for a reward. She had simply made the choice that felt right. The CEO smiled. "That is exactly why it mattered," he said. "Because the purest kindness is often given when nobody is watching." The single mom looked at him quietly. She realized that the small sacrifice she thought only affected her daughter had reached someone she never expected. A person who had everything the world could offer, yet still needed a reminder about what truly mattered. Months passed. The CEO continued growing his business. But now, his success had a different purpose. He supported families. He created opportunities. He listened more. He cared more. People around him noticed the difference. The man who once seemed impossible to reach had become someone who understood the value of connection. And the single mom continued creating beautiful moments with her daughter. Their life was still simple, but it was filled with something priceless: love. Years later, the CEO would still remember that day. Not because of the cake, not because of the store, not because of the situation itself, because that was the day he learned a lesson he could not find in any book, meeting, or business strategy. A person's true value was never measured by what they owned. It was measured by the kindness they carried. The single mom thought she was giving up a small celebration. She never knew she was giving someone a new way to see the world. And the billionaire CEO thought he was watching someone make a difficult choice. He never knew he was witnessing the beginning of his own transformation. Because sometimes the smallest acts of love create the biggest changes. Sometimes a quiet moment between strangers becomes a story that lasts forever. And sometimes, the person who seems to have the least is the one who gives the greatest gift of all.